Some of the rarest Lincoln Memorial pennies are more than just coins, they're valuable treasures, waiting to be discovered. Welcome to our channel, where we uncover the secrets of these hidden gems. Make sure to watch till the end, because you won't believe the incredible value some of these pennies can hold. In 2004, a small but significant event occurred in the world of numismatics. It wasn't a new type of coin or a groundbreaking design that caught the public's eye, no, it was actually a simple, often overlooked 1-cent penny. This tiny, unassuming piece of currency would go on to captivate the hearts of coin collectors and enthusiasts alike, with some specimens even fetching an extraordinary price in auctions. But how did a mere penny rise to such fame? To understand this, we need to take a closer look at the history, design, and special minting issues that have turned the 2004 USA 1-cent penny into a true collector's treasure. Now, let's go back in time to the origins of the penny itself. The penny, known as the 1-cent piece, has been in circulation in the United States since the late 18th century. It's a coin that has experienced many changes in its design and composition, but perhaps none as significant as the changes it underwent at the turn of the 21st century. Throughout its long history, the penny has been made from various metals, from copper to zinc, and its design has evolved with the times, but the most iconic of all the designs is that of Abraham Lincoln, which was introduced in 1909 to mark the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. This image of Lincoln, along with the famous shield, became synonymous with the penny. Fast forward to the year 2004. The United States Mint, in an effort to commemorate the bicentennial of the birth of Abraham Lincoln, decided to release a new series of pennies that would feature a fresh, innovative design. The year 2004 would be the beginning of this initiative, marking the first of a 4-year-long program known as the Lincoln Bicentennial Series. This new set of coins would showcase 4 different designs, each representing a different phase of Abraham Lincoln's life. The first of these designs, released in 2009, was meant to honor Lincoln's early childhood in the log cabin in Kentucky, where he was born. But before that, let's focus on the 2004 penny and its unique design elements. The 2004 1-cent penny, unlike the more familiar version featuring Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, the head side, introduced an important change to the reverse side, or the tail side. This change would eventually lead to significant interest in the coin, particularly from collectors and numismatists. The reverse of the 2004 penny featured a new, beautifully detailed image of the Union shield. This shield, with its bold vertical stripes, represents the unity of the country during Lincoln's presidency. The shield was surrounded by a banner, which read E pluribus unum, the Latin phrase meaning, out of many, one. This powerful symbol was chosen to reflect both Lincoln's efforts to preserve the Union during the Civil War and the core ideals of the United States itself. It was a dramatic departure from the previous reverse design, which had depicted the traditional wheat ears motif. The new shield design was simple yet profoundly meaningful, signaling the mint's desire to modernize the penny while still honoring Lincoln's legacy. However, this was not the only change in store for the 1-cent coin in 2004. In addition to the new reverse design, the 2004 pennies were produced with a new composition that caused some controversy. Up until that time, the penny had been primarily made of copper, but due to rising copper prices, the mint decided to switch the composition of the coin. In 2004, the penny was made with a blend of copper and zinc, leading to some confusion among collectors. The minting process and changes in material composition led to slightly different characteristics in the coins, such as differences in weight and color. This variance created an opportunity for errors and anomalies, which are often the holy grail for coin collectors. In fact, it was the 2004 penny's unique minting process that would eventually lead to the creation of a rare and valuable error coin. You see, the 2004 penny was produced in 2 primary facilities, the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Most coins struck in these mints are standard, but due to small mistakes during the minting process, some pennies from these mints turned out to be incredibly rare. One of the most notable errors occurred at the Denver Mint, where a small batch of 2004 pennies was accidentally struck with a double die. The result was a coin with a noticeable doubling of the design on the reverse side, particularly in the words E pluribus unum and the shield's details. These double die pennies are highly sought after by collectors, as they are among the rarest of the 2004 series. Some of these coins have been known to fetch thousands of dollars at auction, far above the face value of just 1 cent. But what truly sets the 2004 penny apart from its counterparts is the impact it has had on the world of coin collecting. The rarity of these era coins, combined with the public's fascination with Abraham Lincoln and the penny's iconic status in American culture, made the 2004 1-cent piece a hot commodity. The market for these rare pennies has only grown, as collectors and investors alike search for these elusive treasures. Now, let's talk about the real story behind the 2004 penny's incredible value. While most people may see a penny as nothing more than spare change, certain 2004 pennies have become worth much, much more. One of the most famous examples is a 2004 D double die penny, which sold for a staggering $24,000. This specific coin was discovered by a sharp-eyed collector who noticed the double die error. After it was graded by professional numismatists, it was certified as being in excellent condition, further increasing its value. In fact, this coin was so rare that it became the centerpiece of a bidding war at a major coin auction. The final price reached an astonishing $24,000, sending shockwaves through the numismatic community and proving that even the most humble of coins could hold immense value. If you happen to come across a 2004 penny, don't simply dismiss it as pocket change. Take a moment to inspect it carefully. You never know, you might just be holding a rare and valuable piece of American history. Let's take a step back and look at 1985, a year filled with iconic pop culture moments and historical events. But amidst the hustle and bustle of this year, there's a little coin that would go on to capture the attention of collectors, investors, and numismatists alike, the 1985 USA 1-cent penny. It's hard to imagine how a penny could become anything more than pocket change, but this particular penny is a prime example of how the world of coin collecting can turn the ordinary into the extraordinary. To fully understand why the 1985 penny is so special, we need to explore its history, design, minting process, and most importantly, the rare error that would make it one of the most coveted coins on the market today. The penny, in its various forms, has been part of American currency since the late 18th century. The coin's design has evolved over the years, with one of the most significant changes occurring in 1909 when the Lincoln Memorial portrait was introduced by Victor David Brenner. Since then, the design of the penny has remained largely the same, with Lincoln's face on the obverse and the iconic Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. By the mid-1980s, the penny was still using this familiar design. The U.S. Mint had switched the penny's composition over the years due to rising copper costs, but by 1985, it was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc. Minted in both Philadelphia and Denver, these pennies were pretty standard at first glance. However, what collectors would later discover is that not all 1985 pennies were created equal. Some of them featured an unusual and rare error during the minting process that would make them highly sought after. Now, here's where things get interesting. Some of the 1985 pennies were struck with a significant design flaw, a double die error. In simple terms, this means that the coin's design was stamped twice in slightly misaligned positions, creating a doubling effect in the image. On the 1985 penny, this error was particularly noticeable on the reverse, where the Lincoln Memorial's columns and inscriptions were duplicated, making the design appear blurry or doubled. For numismatists, this error is a holy grail. Double die coins are rare, and collectors value them not only for their rarity but for the unique story they tell about the minting process. Even a small misalignment during the minting of coins can have a huge impact on their value, especially when that error is as distinctive as the one found on these 1985 pennies. At first, these pennies might have been dismissed as minor flaws, just a part of the normal minting process. But over time, collectors began to realize how rare and valuable these error coins were. With only a small number of 1985 pennies featuring this doubling effect, their scarcity made them highly desirable in the numismatic world. As word spread about the error coins, demand grew, and prices started to rise. But it wasn't until one particular 1985 double die penny was sold that the true value of these error coins was fully realized. This specific 1985 penny, which had been carefully preserved in near-perfect condition, was sold at auction for a record-breaking price. Graded MS-67 by the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, this penny was one of the finest examples of the double die error, with its doubled columns and inscriptions clearly visible. It was this pristine condition, coupled with the rarity of the error, that led to the extraordinary price tag. In a numismatic auction, the penny fetched a jaw-dropping $98,000. Yes, you heard that right, $98,000 for a single penny. To many, this price might seem impossible to believe. How could a coin that was originally worth just 1 cent be sold for such an astronomical amount? The answer lies in the world of rare coin collecting. When collectors and investors see a coin with a rare error, especially one in such exceptional condition, they know they're holding a piece of history. The rarity, the story behind the coin, and the demand from other collectors all combine to push the price to staggering heights. This specific 1985 double-die penny isn't just a rarity, it's a symbol of the unpredictable world of coin collecting, where even the smallest imperfections can lead to significant rewards. What started as an ordinary penny from 1985, something most people would have discarded without a second thought, turned into an incredible piece of numismatic history worth $98,000. So, what does this teach us? It's a reminder that in the world of coin collecting, there's always more than meets the eye. A penny, often overlooked and undervalued, can hold immense potential, especially when it carries a unique error or flaw. Whether you're a seasoned collector or someone just beginning to explore the world of coins, this story serves as a fascinating example of how rarity and condition can transform a simple piece of currency into a valuable treasure. The year was 1978, a time when disco was in full swing, Greece was playing in theaters, and the world was seeing technological advancements at an unprecedented pace. But amidst all these changes, something interesting was happening at the United States Mint that few people knew about. It wasn't a groundbreaking new design or a special edition. No, what happened in 1978 would go largely unnoticed by the general public, but in the world of coin collecting, it would become a key moment in history. The 1 cent penny, a coin that many might overlook in their daily transactions, would soon become a point of fascination for collectors. When we think of pennies, we usually think of something small, cheap, and insignificant. But over time, some pennies have become incredibly rare and valuable. The 1978 penny is no exception. You might not give much thought to a coin that's only worth 1 cent, but there's a particular version of this coin, created that year, that's worth much, much more than just a penny. Let's rewind to the 1970s, a decade filled with change. The 1970s marked an interesting time in U.S. coinage. The nation was dealing with a lot of inflation, and that impacted the way the U.S. Mint produced coins. By 1978, the U.S. 1 cent penny was composed of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition that remained consistent for many years. Most of these pennies were made at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and they featured the classic design that had been in use for decades: Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, front, and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, back. The penny, although not a coin that makes headlines often, was still a symbol of American currency. At this time, the penny wasn't exactly a coin that people were collecting or holding onto for any particular reason. After all, they were used in day-to-day transactions, often discarded without a second thought. Little did anyone know, though, that a small flaw in the minting process would turn some of these 1978 pennies into highly sought-after treasures, with one even reaching an astronomical price in recent years. This flaw was no ordinary mistake, it was what collectors call a double-die error. But what exactly is a double die, and why does it matter? A double die occurs when the design on a coin is imprinted more than once, causing certain areas of the design to appear doubled, often with blurry or distorted outlines. It's not a huge error, but when it happens, it makes the coin unique, and for collectors, that uniqueness is worth its weight in gold. A penny struck with this error was something rare and sought after in the world of numismatics. And in 1978, some of these pennies with double die errors made their way into circulation. For years, these pennies were largely overlooked. But as collectors began to pay closer attention to the subtle differences in coins, they started to realize that the 1978 penny had something special. The double die pennies were found mostly by those who carefully examined their change. And as these error coins were discovered, their value began to climb. It wasn't just the doubling effect that made these pennies valuable. It was also their rarity. Minting errors are uncommon in general, but double die errors, especially on pennies, are particularly rare. The more pristine the condition of the coin, the more valuable it became. Collectors would go to great lengths to track down these error pennies, and as the years went on, the price of a 1978 double-die penny began to rise significantly, but as the demand for these rare coins increased, so did the prices. Pennies from 1978, which once could be found for just a few cents at a coin show, began to fetch tens of thousands of dollars at auction. The rarity of the double-die penny became more apparent with time, and soon, the 1978 penny was seen not as just a cheap piece of currency, but as a sought-after collectible, worth a significant amount of money. And now, here's the most surprising part: if you happen to come across a 1978 double-die penny, you could be holding a coin worth as much as $112,000. So, how did the price of a single penny reach such dizzying heights? It all comes down to rarity, demand, and condition. Only a small number of 1978 double-die pennies were struck, and those that have survived are often in less than ideal condition. However, when one of these pennies is found in mint condition, it becomes a prized gem in the world of numismatics. But why does this rare coin demand such a high price? It's simple: rarity and the quest for perfection. With only a limited number of 1978 double-die pennies still in existence, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for a well-preserved example. When it comes to rare coins, the finer the condition, the more valuable it becomes. The 1978 double-die penny, in pristine condition, is considered a true treasure in the world of coin collecting, and for those who are lucky enough to possess one, it can change their life in an instant. So, what does the story of the 1978 double-die penny teach us? It shows us that even the most ordinary coins can become valuable if they carry a rare characteristic. The 1978 penny was no different from the millions of other pennies minted that year, until the double-die era made it unique. And in the world of coin collecting, uniqueness is a key factor in determining a coin's value.